I lived an entire life before the age of 3. I was born. I opened my eyes for the first time. I heard my mother's voice. I tasted food. I took my first steps. I said my first word, and I remember none of it. Not a single moment. Most people assume the answer is simple. My brain was not ready yet. I was too young. But that is not quite right. And the real answer is far stranger than I would expect. Because my baby brain was not failing to record my life. It was recording everything. My memories were there, but something destroyed them. In 1905, a famous doctor became the first person to put a name to this event. He called it childhood memory loss. Babies can form memories. I know this for a fact. In the 1980s, a researcher at a big university ran a beautiful test. She tied a ribbon from a baby ankle to a toy hanging above the crib. The babies quickly learned that kicking made the toy move, and they loved it. When she brought the same babies back days later, they remembered. They started kicking immediately. Even 2-month-old babies can hold that memory for a couple of days. 6-month-old babies remembered for weeks. So baby brains can learn. They can store information. They can recall it. But those memories do not last. By adulthood, every trace is gone. And for decades, scientists could not fully explain why. The first part of the answer is structural. The memory center is a small curved part deep inside my brain. It acts as the engine of memory building. It is what allows me to take a lived experience, a birthday, a conversation, a walk in the rain, and pack it as a scene I can later replay in my mind. In adults, this memory center works with the front of the brain to tag and store and retrieve these scenes. But in babies, this system is severely underdeveloped. The connections between the memory center and the front brain are still being built. Key parts that act as a gateway for new memories are not fully wired until somewhere between ages 2 and 4. So my baby brain could form short-term memories. It just could not move them into long-term storage the way an adult brain does. But that is only half the story. And honestly, what comes next is even stranger. Because in 2014, 2 brain scientists discovered something that changed how I think about baby memory entirely. They worked at a children's hospital and had an idea that sounded almost crazy. What if the very process that builds my brain is also what destroys my memories? Here is what they meant. In the first years of life, my memory center is producing new brain cells at an amazing rate. This is called cell birth, and it is essential. Those new brain cells are what wire up the paths I will use for the rest of my life. But the researchers suspected there was a cost. Every time a new cell joins an existing path, it breaks the connections that were already there. These were the connections holding my memories. To test this, they ran tests on mice. When they artificially increased cell birth in adult mice, those mice started forgetting things they had previously learned. And when they slowed cell birth in baby mice, those baby mice held on to their memories longer than normal. The results, published in a major science journal, pointed to a deeply surprising conclusion. My baby brain was not too weak to hold memories. It was too busy growing. The same explosion of new cells that built my brain also overwrote the memories stored inside it. My earliest experiences were not lost because they were never saved. They were lost because my brain kept building new rooms and tearing down the old walls in the process. But there is another layer to this, and it might be the strangest part of all. To form the kind of personal memory where I am the main character of an experience I can replay in my mind, I need something most people take for granted. I need a sense of self. I need to understand that I exist as a person separate from the world around me, that things are happening to me. Researchers argued in the late 1990s that this is a critical missing piece. Before roughly 18 to 24 months of age, babies do not recognize themselves as distinct individuals. The classic test for this is simple. Put a dot of red color on my baby nose and place me in front of a mirror. Before 18 months, I treat the reflection like another child. I do not reach for the mark on my own face. After 18 months, I do. I recognize that the person in the mirror is me. In that moment, the birth of self-recognition closely tracks with the earliest age at which personal memories can form. In other words, I cannot remember being a baby partly because there was no me yet, not in the way that I experience myself now. There was no voice inside my head packaging experiences into a story that belonged to a person called me, which raises an uncomfortable question. If I had no continuous sense of self and the brain that held my earliest experiences physically rewired itself beyond recognition, is the baby in my old photos actually me? Or is it someone else entirely? Someone who lived in the same body, but whose mind was literally taken apart and rebuilt cell by cell into the person I became. There is one more piece to this puzzle. Language. A researcher spent years studying how children form lasting memories. Her conclusion was that language does not just describe my memories, it structures them. Before I could speak, my experiences were saved as raw sensory feelings, sounds and textures and emotions and light. But without words to organize them, those feelings had no framework to attach to. Once I began speaking, and especially once I began having conversations with adults about past events, my ability to form lasting memories improved dramatically. Language gives memory a skeleton. Without it, experiences are like water with no container. They exist in the moment, then they are gone. And this is not just theory. A researcher at a major university found that the age of my earliest memory actually varies depending on culture. In Western cultures, parents frequently talk about my experiences. Earliest memories tend to start around age 3.5. Among some indigenous cultures, average first memories reach all the way back to age 2.5. In Eastern cultures, closer to age 4. The culture I grow up in shapes how far back my memory reaches. Every human being has a blank space where the first years of their life should be. My brain was not too simple. It was becoming me, destroying the person who came before. Please remember that the content in this video is provided for reference and educational purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. I am sharing these deep dives into psychology and history to help us learn, but this is not professional or financial advice. Always do thorough research and consult a professional before making any financial decisions. If this video brought value to my day, please subscribe to my channel. It helps me build this content empire and bring more deep dives directly to your screen. Thank you for watching.